Hi, everybody. Here we are again, Dick, Sharon, Lania for Hollywood Progressive. We saw another play. We saw it Saturday night. It's a Perfect Ganesh, written by Terrence McNally, directed by Mary Jo Dupree. It stars Ellen Geer and Melora Marshall with a large ensemble. A dozen performances are playing through October 7th at Theatricum Botanicum in Topanga Canyon. The basic story is that two longtime friends travel to India seeking relief from their losses and personal demons. They're looking for a healing. As they travel through India, the Hindu god Ganesha works through their fellow travelers to reveal that the greatest journey may be simply surviving life. So, Nia, this was your first visit to a very unique theater, Theatricum Botanicum. What was your impressions?
Yeah, fantastic, amazing. This is a completely outdoor theater set up in the Topanga Canyon with beautiful trees, sort of a mountainside on the back of it, and it's like I said, an outdoor open theater. Um, Absolutely fantastic. A big sprawling stage on the front with this, kind of a two-story building on one side, and then they have an upper level on the other side. And what surprised me was that they also, because you can see sort of footpaths behind the stage up into the little hill that's back there through the trees. And they actually went up there, and there were some scenes. And I have to imagine when they do some of these Shakespeare plays, they use that area quite a lot. It's beautiful, gorgeous lighting, really nice breeze. You get a few impromptu animal visitors like bats and Sharon's favorite, some mice scurrying across the stage. um, Really a unique, one of a kind experience that I have never experienced before at a theater. Fantastic.
Yeah, so I agree. So we've been there half a dozen times, and it's really interesting. And they have parts of the play going on way off in the woods to the right, and way up on the hill and behind the audience. And that's very cool, but it's also sometimes a little distracting. Like you kind of get lost and it feels like because they have all that capacity to do all those things, then they got to make use of it. They got to have a conversation off in the woods, which could be right in front of you. But anyway, it's a wonderful theater, and we'll talk about the history of it in a minute. So Sharon, you seemed the thing about this play, the Perfect Ganesh, that turned you on was some of the Indian culture and particularly the Indian dancing.
Yeah, I thought that the dancing was wonderful. There was just one dancer, a woman by the name of Shivani Thakar, and she, I believe, danced a traditional Indian dancing that we've all seen. She was marvelous, and it was one of my favorite parts of the performance. And she danced like Mia and Dick is talking about. She danced on the stage, she danced up through the aisles, she danced in the back, and she danced all in all of the areas, which was kind of nice.
Okay, so Theatrum Botanicum was started by a well-known actor, Will Geer, in 1973, with the idea of passing on history, especially to young people. And many of the plays they present there are Shakespearean plays, partly because the people who continue to run it after Will Geer is gone is his wife and daughter, Ellen Geer, and so forth. They're Shakespearean experts. This season, in addition to the play we saw, The Perfect Ganesh, they even interspersed. They have Macbeth, A Midsummer's Night Dream, and a special presentation called War of Roses, which combines 4 Shakespearean plays, Henry IV, parts 1, 2, and 3, and Richard III, all told from the women characters' perspective. And that seems pretty fascinating. I mean, it's possible we would go see that. That sounds pretty interesting. So Nia, what did you think of the acting? The bulk of the acting was done by 2 women, Ellen Geer and Melora Marshall. What did you think of their performance?
Yeah, so Ellen and Melora were playing 2 older women who both experienced similar and yet vastly different tragedies when they were younger involving their own children. I won't give away too much, but that is partly the reason why they both want to go to India, is to sort of have this healing experience, to relieve themselves of this trauma. And that's something I did actually relate with those characters in a minor way, in that I related on the loss that they felt, and the what's the word? The sort of frame of mind that you find yourself in. And these women kept themselves in this frame of mind for many, many years afterwards, until they finally went on this trip and had this healing experience for them, that taught them that sometimes, taught to them by Ganesha, that surviving life is often the pinnacle of it, and it's part of living. Really, really interesting seeing them go through their process of starting okay, what they deem themselves as okay, and sort of being broken down by the experiences that they have, and then rebuilding themselves up by the end. Wonderful.
So part of the thing going on with the women is they both have great sadness, because they feel they failed as wives and mothers and even friends to each other. Did you find their search compelling?
Well, I think as a mother, I have children, and as a mother, even if your children are successful, which mine are, and even if you have fabulous relationships with them, which I do, you always wonder, could I have done something better? Did I fail in this respect? Or, if they're experiencing some difficulty in their lives, is it because of me, something I did that I could have done better? Maybe I should have breastfed them longer, or maybe I should have. You always, that's, I think, just a never-ending process. So definitely I could relate to that.
So Terrence McNally's play was written in 1993, and as Nia says, we don't give away a lot of what goes on in the play, but it touches on elements of racism and homophobia, trauma and loss, and female friendship that in some ways seems even more relevant today in what seems to be even more troubled times 30 years later. One of the aspects is one of the sons who died, his mother rejected him when he revealed his sexuality, and she feels great grief at that. And the play, in a way, gets her back to a place of acceptance. Another aspect of what goes on there is McNally in a bit makes fun of this American need to travel to some far off place to heal and understand the world better. And kind of what Ganesha teaches them is they could have stayed on their back porch and gone through the same kind of healing.
So one thing that you didn't mention is that on the grounds of Theatricum Botanica, they have lovely places to have a lunch. You can picnic. You can do little hikes around the area. So it's you can come early, which is what we did. We arrived there about an hour earlier to have lunch, and we had a table reserved for us. And it's just a lovely experience.
Yeah, I mean, so I would say as much as the play itself, that whole experience of the drive up the interesting Topanga Canyon, and we've done that a few times where we've met a little group of friends, Edna Valia and others, and had brought meals and had a meal, and that was a lot of fun. And then the play is pretty wonderful. It's pretty. I think that the interesting thing is, we like these little plays, and we go to these little shoebox plays. I like that, but it feels pretty claustrophobic. And here you're out in nature, and it's a pretty wonderful life. Any last thoughts from anybody?
No, it's an evening.
So Nia's getting some notes together for crabs in a bucket, which we saw yesterday, and then we had crabs in a bucket. So we'll talk about that tomorrow.
All righty.
Bye-bye.
Thanks everybody for joining us. Bye-bye.